Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 8 of Broad Shoulders and Cheese Curds.
Episode 8. How about that? I am electric. Episode 8.
Yeah.
One more than 7. One
Yep.
less than 9. Ben, how you doing on this fine day?
It's hockey season. Very excited that there are no other sports that exist right now besides hockey.
And basketball, too. Can't forget about that.
Just hockey. And yeah, sports. Yay. What a weekend.
Yeah.
Episode 8. That's one less point than the Bears scored on Sunday.
Well,
So with that, welcome
that.
back, and let's jump right into this. The 8th episode of Broad Shoulders and Cheese Curds. So like we said, welcome back, everybody. I'm Ben Picorni. The man across the country from me and across the Zoom screen is Mr. Riley Trapp, representing the great cheeseheads of Wisconsin.
Yes, the electric cheeseheads. Can't wait until Saturday. I'm all the way in. We'll get to that later, but we can't move on without talking about what happened on Sunday in New Orleans at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So, Ben, why don't you just take it away?
I would like to start by saying to anyone out there who's blaming Mitch Trubisky started 3 full seasons for the Bears and took them to the playoffs in 2 of those seasons.
He did.
I would just like to say that for the record to begin this, because what I'm now going to say is that how the fuck did that happen? 2018, he looked like, he could be, not maybe better, but as good as Pat Mahomes, considering he did better in his first year as a full starter than Mahomes did. Mm-hmm. Went 12-4. And I mean, that's with Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, and
Was Anthony Miller there yet?
Yeah. He was drafted.
I'm thinking of Mooney.
Miller was drafted the same year as Cohen. And Mitch did that in 2018 with Miller and A-Rob in his first season with the Bears. Adam Shaheen at tight end. So Mitch had so many less weapons and still went 12-4, But
I mean, at the same time, Mitch had an outstanding defense where Mahomes had like an average defense.
I guess, but yeah, man, it just sucks. Because like we've talked, I guess I screamed after the game. We didn't really have a conversation, but
it was more of a therapy session.
We had so many chances to win that game.
Yeah.
To score points that could have led to us winning that game. Because we started multiple possessions in the Saints' territory. I just don't have the energy. I'm not even mad anymore. It's just I'm over it. I'm just so done with all the shit that's been going on the past 2 years now with the Bears. It's just failure in big games to perform. We won one of our 4 primetime games this year. I guess I would count a playoff game a primetime game too, since you're the only. Even though it was at 3:40, you're the only game on.
Uh-huh.
So we're 1-4. We beat the Bucks, we lost to the Packers, we lost to the Vikings, lost to the Rams, and lost this playoff game. So it sucks, and it's really fucking frustrating because, like we've said multiple times, and you'll admit, the pieces are all there.
Oh yeah, they are.
And now, we're gonna lose Allen Robinson most likely. I don't blame him for wanting to leave. He's way too good for the Bears and for Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor to ruin him.
Yeah.
Bears defense played, outstanding. They held one of the best offenses in the NFL to 7 points in the first half. And the Saints didn't get a first down in the second quarter. We forced 2 turnovers, forced them to punt so many times, and played such a great game defensively. It's just It's the story of the Bears the past few years. It's just outstanding defensive talent keeping us in the game. And, that's been the Bears' strategy, is just defense keeps us in the game and hopefully the offense can do something. And, sometimes it works and, we get some great wins out of it, like we did against the Buccaneers, or, like that was our plan against the Packers, keep it close. And like I said, the offense had a chance to win the game against the Packers and we didn't get that fourth down. And it was the same thing this time. We come out at halftime down 7-3, and we just don't score the rest of the game until like 20 seconds left. So it's just disappointing because the Bears are much better than 8-9 in a first-round playoff exit where you essentially don't score a touchdown, because we started in Saints territory inside the 35 like 4 times. Mm-hmm. Alvin Kamara was not that big of an impact. I mean, honestly, neither was Michael Thomas. Like, the Saints they just beat us. Like, they just scored when they needed to, and we didn't. I mean, when you think about it, like, they outscored us 7-3 in the first half and 14-7 in the second half. Like, there's not much more you can ask for. We lost. I mean, it was not as bad as everyone thought it was going to be. It was 21-9, really 21-3. But, I just think that, with the players that the Bears have, the fans deserve more. And the players deserve more as how good they are to get some better coaching and, really bring them together, because Allen Robinson is fantastic. Darnell Mooney is one of the best, probably the best wide receiver drafted last year, maybe behind Justin Jefferson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he's for a 5th-round pick is outstanding. I think Cole Kmet shows a lot of potential, even though he did get an unsportsmanlike against the Saints.
Alleged unsportsmanlike. That was brutal.
It was some pretty bad officiating, I'm not going to lie. I don't like to blame the game on the refs, because I think the Bears still, made plenty of mistakes that they caused themselves. But, Cole Kmet catches that pass, sets up a 3rd and 4 inside the 15, tosses the ball back to the ref, and Malcolm Jenkins, right? Yeah. Just talking shit like he always does, even though he's an absolute trash can. And Cole Kmet tosses the ball back to the ref 15 yards. And Anthony Miller, with Darnell Mooney already out, shoves a guy, ejected. Like, it was just awful officiating. I mean, the Saints, towards the end of the game, when Drew Brees was stopped, when they reviewed it and they saw he was short when he reached over the goal line. That was my favorite part of the game, because Drew Brees talks into the on-field camera. He's like, I score those. And then they review it, and he didn't reach the ball, half yard.
I enjoyed that. That was funny.
The half, he needed to reach it, maybe half a yard, and he didn't do it. So that was hilarious for me. But on that series, we got them to 3rd and goal twice, and they were bailed out with a holding where we sacked Drew Brees for a loss of 20. And then the next 3rd and goal, they tried to do a jump pass with Taysom Hill, and they call pass interference. It's on the 1-yard line. The tight end is blocking and releasing for the jump pass, obviously, because it's supposed to look like a run. You can't penalize a defensive player for holding a tight end at the line when you think it's going to be a run. It's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And, I mean, the Saints were just getting bailed out left and right. It was like I was watching frickin' Tom Brady out there, or Aaron Rodgers, with the refs just in their back pocket the entire game. And the Bears didn't help themselves. I mean, 5 offsides penalties is just absolutely brutal. So, biggest play of the game for the Bears, obviously, that everyone talks about, is Javon Wims dropping that touchdown pass in the end zone. And which was, Matt Nagy's, one time that one of his genius plays actually, was going to work. And Mitch threw a beautiful ball that Wims just, could not catch, and you have to catch that in the NFL. I've seen better catches made in a high school freshman B game, so.
Yes. I think I have made better catches than harder catches.
I
than
don't doubt it.
And I'm an offensive lineman.
It just sucks because I didn't want Mitch to go out that way. I wanted him to at least get a playoff win. But I mean, he's 2 out of 3 in seasons that he started making the playoffs. So it is what it is. Javon Wims, fuck you. Because we score that touchdown and we go up by 10-7 into halftime, and it's an entirely different game.
Yeah, when I was listening to part of my take, and Big Cat said that after the first Bears-Saints game, when Wims didn't get cut, that is kind of when all the problems start. Because, then you look at what happened with Miller, which I never saw. I saw the replay. It looked like a shove. Big Cat said it looked like a punch to him. So, it's just he said, she said at that point. But for argument's sake, we'll say it was a punch. And then, if Wims is cut, I don't think Miller would have done that because I feel like his conscience would have kicked in, hey, remember, Javon got cut last time this happened. And, it's the same guy. What's his name?
Yeah, and number 22. I don't know what his name is. He's an absolute waste of fucking space. Yeah, his sole purpose out there was to draw the Bears into penalties, and he did that twice. So,
yeah. And
I just think that's a really, there was a lot of calls that the officials made that, it's obviously it's hard for me to say objectively, but I always support in a playoff game, just letting the best team win. And when you're going to debilitate a team so much by ejecting their second best wide receiver when their best one's already out, and they really only have Miller, Mooney, and Allen Robinson, because Javon Wims obviously is not a viable receiving target. Mm-hmm. And Cordero got an unsportsmanlike for leaving the field and coming back on to make a tackle. And it was just, there's too many.
I'm not going to lie, I agree with that call on the Cordero because he did go out of bounds and he kept running down the sideline. So I do agree with that call.
I don't think he knew though, but
yeah, I don't blame him because that's one of those. Because that's when your instinct as a player kind of takes over.
You're just playing. Yeah, you're just I have to get downfield and make a tackle.
It's see ball, get ball at that point.
So I understand every call that was made against the Bears were legitimate penalties. Maybe I don't think Cole Kmet should have gotten a personal foul for that. I think that was absolutely ridiculous for an NFL official to make in a game between grown men. Because they were talking shit to each other and he threw the ball at the official. That's like a kid playing in the front yard, throws the ball at his friend because he pissed him off. Yeah. And the refs, you're really going to throw a flag about that? But he threw it into the ref's basket. The ref caught it. Mm-hmm. It was thrown directly to him. It wasn't thrown with force. It was lofted up in the air to the official. And, Bears offsides, obviously, and pass interference, holding, whatever. Like I said, I'm okay with, the Bears taking penalties, and I'll be the first to admit when the Bears are wrong and fuck up. But my problem with this game is there's too many game-changing calls made by the officiating crew in a game where it matters so much, and the refs were definitely the center of attention at a lot of points in the game, and it should never be that way. So I guess that's really all I have to say about the game itself, about the Bears in general moving forward. I think Matt Nagy stays on as head coach.
I would be shocked if they moved on from him.
I was frustrated after the game, obviously, but after I've had time to think about it, he still got us to the playoffs. In hindsight, we lost by 12 points to the Saints. We held them to under 21. That's a pretty good game. We just lost. They were just a better team in a lot of ways. So, do I think we should be better? Yes. But do I think that, making the playoffs is, acceptable? Of course. So I don't think Matt Nagy's going to go. This offseason is the first time I've really been, ever since we, had the number 3 pick going into the 2017 season where we drafted Mitch, like I've been excited for the season the next year just because like 2017, we're going to draft a quarterback. We're going to get our guy. Before the 2018 season, I was like, okay, Mitch looked great in, the 7 or 8 games that he did play in 2017 after he came in for Glennon. Like, this should be fun. We have a guy who's exciting to watch, and, he's got room to grow. And 2018, double doink. We make the playoffs. We win the division. Like, okay, awesome. Like, we're on a right track. Last year, we go 8-8. It sucks ass. Like, yeah, we expected to do better, but we didn't. We signed Nick Foles. It's another thing that's just looking good. And, we come into the season, obviously start 5-1 and then lose 6 in a row, as everybody knows. But, there's always been something positive to take out of the season, for the past few years for the Bears, and something to look forward to. But at this point, we're definitely almost guaranteed to lose Allen Robinson. Mitch is done. Nick Foles can't really start.
How many years does he have left on that contract?
Foles?
Yeah.
2.
So, I mean, most likely he's going to be the starting quarterback then, right? Unless they make
I don't know. I don't
move in the
think
draft.
so. No, I don't think we'll draft anyone. If anything, we'll... I would be excited for next season if, like, best case scenario, Allen Robinson re-signs and Matthew Stafford becomes the next quarterback for the Bears. Mm-hmm. That's my perfect scenario. Middle of the road scenario is Robinson stays and Foles quarterbacks, or Robinson goes and we still get Stafford. Worst case scenario is, Foles is quarterback, Allen Robinson's gone, and we're starting from square one again, and it'll be a rebuild again, even though we already did rebuild and went to the playoffs, and now we're going to rebuild again. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I feel like the Bears are the only. Sorry to cut you. Just one more. I got. The Bears are the only team that I can think of that, like, the past 3 years, we've, like, made the playoffs 2 out of the past 3 years, but we're, like, still rebuilding at the same time, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's a weird phase for the Bears because, I mean, you could make the argument that technically this wasn't even really a playoff caliber team because, I mean, they kind of stumbled their way into the playoffs. But, they did ride out a 3-game win streak near there at the end. I mean, once the Packers eventually lose either this week, the next week, or the Super Bowl, if by some miracle they even get there, we'll do a full off season, like what we want,
Yeah.
like what you did, our best case scenario, middle of the road, and worst case. But I mean, they're in a tough spot because I was talking about, I think I told you this before this season even started, that they are I don't know if they ever renegotiated Foles' contract, but they're paying him a lot of money to sit on the bench, which I think, I mean, can we say Mitch is gone? Because I assume he is.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's done.
Yeah, so I mean, once Mitch is gone, you're paying Foles a lot of money to sit on the bench, and I think that they're probably gonna start him just because of the.
And I'm okay with that. Because like I've said, I think Nick has always been better than Mitch. Mm-hmm. But not necessarily for the offense that Matt, the fucking trickster Nagy, was trying to run all year. Mm-hmm. But, I wouldn't hate it, obviously, like I said, but I think that we would need the pieces like Allen Robinson to be there for me to be, to accept that, we're going to have to deal with Nick Foles for another year or maybe 2. I think Nick Foles is going to retire at the end of his contract with the Bears. I think he's done.
Yeah, probably.
So, who knows, man? We got a ways to go. And overall, like I've said the past few weeks, I know a lot of people are pissed off. A lot of Bears fans are pissed off and, whatever it might be. But, like, I just, the numbers don't lie and what we've done doesn't lie. Like, we have not had a losing season since Nagy took over as head coach. We've made the playoffs 2 out of those 3 years. We won the division. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll take it. So you can't, obviously it sucks to lose like we did, and it sucks to go 8-8 and back into the playoffs and not really know who your quarterback is and have head coaching troubles and whatever it might be. But we found a way to make the playoffs, and I'll fucking take it. My final thought about this last playoff game is something people have kind of glossed over. Like, we were missing two of our best defensive backs. We were missing our second best wide receiver, and we were missing, one of the best linebackers in the NFL in Roquan Smith. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So to play the game that we did, with how debilitated we were in a lot of facets of the game, some could say we put up a great fight. And I think regardless of whether you take that into account or not, the Bears lost to the third best team in the NFL, I would say, by
Behind
12 points.
Bills and Chiefs. Bills and Chiefs.
Behind Bills and Chiefs. Yeah, sorry. I think the Saints are better than the Packers.
No,
I'm sorry.
I would probably say they would be too.
But yeah, so I'll take it. It sucks. It sucks. That's my final thought. It's tough to take. But, like I said, I took a step back after the game and these past few days to think about it. And the Bears are the Bears. And like we said multiple weeks, Mitch is what Mitch is. And we know what we were going to get with this team. And here we are. We just played a playoff game against the number 2 seed in the NFL and, had a chance to win it. Mm-hmm. So that's it for me. I know I rambled a lot there, but...
No, you're good. So I guess we'll then move on to, just Saturday. We got Packers and Rams. I'm all the way in. Everything in my mind is riding on this game. If we have a good performance, I say that we can... If we have not to knock the Bears or anything, but, I mean, the Saints didn't look great against them. And the Bears aren't... I mean, and the Bears really aren't what I call, a Super Bowl caliber team like the Saints are.
No.
And, to see them play like that, they looked beatable. Not only, it looked like the Bears could beat them. And knowing that the Packers, no offense, are a lot better than the Bears makes me confident that if we play the Saints, we can handle business. But we do have to get...
I don't know, man.
Rams
Playoff Tom Brady scares the shit out of me now.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends about this who's a Packer fan. If we win this game, I am full on a Saints fan for Saints Bucks because old Drew Brees, this is, probably his last year. He loves playing in that cozy, warm dome, but sending him up to freezing Lambeau is a hell of a lot better than sending Tom Brady, the man who's won numerous playoff games in the freezing cold up in New England.
I also think that Tom Brady has a lot better weapons on offense than
Drew Brees
without
does.
a
doubt. The two.
Antonio Brown has been fantastic for him, for Brady, and I think Brady with Gronk, with AB, with Scotty Miller, Broncos for life.
Friend of the show, Scotty Miller.
Mike Evans, Godwin, Jones in the backfield, those are guys that could be number one. Like Godwin and AB could be number one players for other teams at the wide receiver position.
Oh yeah.
And Gronk obviously as well, and Cameron Brate, even their backup tight end, was a number one guy for a couple teams in the league. So I think Brady has a lot more weapons, and I think the Bucs offense is much scarier to face than the Saints. Even though the Bears did, beat the Buccaneers earlier this year with Nick Foles at quarterback, I would still have rather, if I had to choose who the Bears played last week, Saints or Bucs, I would have still said the Saints just because I think the Bucs are a much scarier offense than the Saints.
Yeah, but we'll move back down to the game at hand, which is Packers Rams.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald did not practice. Cooper Kupp did not practice, which is huge. I'm assuming both of them are going to play. I could not see them sitting out a playoff game.
No.
Especially Aaron Donald, because I've been having some traumatic nightmares about that man. But, however, he is an interior lineman, and if he were to go up against Elton Jenkins, Elton Jenkins, my favorite Packer player.
He would rip his face off and wear it as a mask.
While that might be the case, I feel like Elton Jenkins would hold his own. But he would hold his own. Elton Jenkins, Pro Bowler. I love the guy. He's my favorite player. Big number 7'4". He can play anywhere. He's this absolute fucking animal. But he would be able to. Obviously, Aaron Donald. I'm assuming, I would if I was Vegas, I would put his sack number at 1.5, and I would probably take the over on that. But the Rams defense as a whole with Jalen Ramsey and your best friend Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, man, I miss him.
Oh,
but I'm glad for him. Like, he went on, made a career for himself. Because honestly, I don't think he'd be starting on this Bears team. He wouldn't play over Mac. He probably wouldn't play over Robert Quinn. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. So I'm a little nervous, but I am all the way in.
Jared Goff will play, right?
He was full practice today, so yes.
I would like to shout out quickly, Jared Goff. What a fucking competitor, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Comes off the bench with a broken hand, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Broken thumb.
Broken thumb. Wasn't even supposed to play the game. And then their third-string quarterback gets taken off looking like he's fucking paralyzed. And Jared Goff says, fuck it, comes into the game and beats the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Which is just shout out to Jared Goff.
Yeah,
what a competitor.
If we were playing against Chase Wolford, I would feel a lot better. But the playoffs are full of feel-good stories that go a long way, and this feels like a feel-good story that's gonna ride out possibly. I'm not gonna say most likely, but possibly to the NFC Championship game. But so pretty much no one for the Packers did not practice. Everyone, like some of the veterans who they don't put down as veteran rest, but like Zadarius Smith and Rick Wagner, so guys like that, they give them like limited practice because of a knee or something, just some nagging.
Well, it's especially this late in the year, I feel like,
Yeah, they just write something down.
Even in high school, teams do that. They're like, okay, we're gonna start tapering out. It's the end of the season, so
yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I am optimistic. The story of the entire game is going to be Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams. And if the 2014 Seahawks and Broncos Super Bowl tells us anything, is that when the number one offense goes up against the number one defense, the number one defense wins. So I'm a little nervous, but I feel like if the Packers can play the type of game that they play, we can win. That being said, the last time that Aaron Rodgers had the 1 seed, we were upset by the New York Football Giants at Lambeau Field in the divisional. So I'm a little scared about that. Also,
I was actually listening to a Pat McAfee show, and Aaron Rodgers was talking about that game in Lambeau when they lost to the Giants.
Yeah, that was brutal. I remember watching that. That really sucked because that was coming off. That was right after our Super Bowl victory. So everyone in Green Bay was all on repeat mode. But, yeah. And
I have a question for you about this game.
Let's hear it.
If you win this game, are you thinking Super Bowl champions?
I wouldn't say Super Bowl champions. Because, I mean, the Bills and the Chiefs are looking so deadly.
Yeah, both those teams are fucking so good, yeah.
But if we win this game convincingly, I'm thinking Super Bowl.
Okay.
But if we skate by in this game, and God forbid we have to play the Buccaneers. But if we skate by in this game, I'll be a little worried. But, the Packers brand of football is, not like winning sketchy games, as we saw last year when they went 13-3 last year. They won sketchy games that they let teams back into the game. But the thing about last year was that I'm pretty sure everyone and their mother knew that the 49ers were going to win the NFC going into the playoffs.
They were fun to watch.
And I feel like this year there's not that team in the NFC that's like everyone knows they're going to go to the Super Bowl because there's, like how it is in the AFC with the Chiefs. Like I wouldn't say that, the Bills.
Bills are a good team, but I mean the Chiefs are still scarier.
I know. Like but But for the NFC, you can make the case that the Packers are the best team, or the Saints are the best team, or the Buccaneers are the best team. So there's not that one boogeyman in the NFC, which makes me a little can make me sleep a little bit easier. But I am, like I said a million times, I'm all the way back in. I'm ready to get hurt, and I'm ready. By that, which I mean is I'm ready to lose in the most humiliating way possible, either to get blown out or to lose how we lost against the Seahawks that one year in the NFC Championship game, which will not be
that guy's
mentioned.
name? Oh, Brandon Bostic. Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
What a player. So I will ask you then realistic score prediction for this game.
I'll give you two.
Two realistic score predictions?
Two realistic. Two things that can happen. If the Packers play to the top of their game, and I mean the top of their game, like the best they can play, I would say Packers 30, Rams 17. No, Rams 20.
Okay.
A more realistic, I wouldn't say more realistic, but yeah, it would be more realistic because, you can't expect your team to play on the top of their game. I would say Rams, oh, geez. Rams, I'm going to go with, I can't believe it. Rams 24, the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers 14, or 17, I don't know. Thoughts are swirling, obviously.
Wait, did you just say the Rams are going to score 4 points?
24.
24, oh, okay.
On Saturday, I'm going to be all the way in. When I wake up on Saturday morning, I'm going to think there's no way that the Rams could win. But as of how it stands right now, as of how it stands right now, I am nervous. Ben, if I need some help here. If you're in my shoes, what are you thinking about?
Like, what's my prediction?
Yes.
Packers. I don't know, man. I think the Rams. I'm just judging this based on the way the Bears played the Packers and the Bears played the Rams. Against the Rams, the Bears were it was a closer game score wise, but
they
the
were
Rams
in the game the whole time.
Yeah, but the Rams were just too good. Their defense was too good. So
yeah, that's what scares me.
Against the Packers, the Bears could put drives together and could go down the field and have chances to score, but then throw a pass on 4th and inches. Hypothetical, of course.
Hypothetically.
So the Rams, I think, are a great playoff team. I think defense wins championships. I will always stand by that, and I think the Rams have a stout defense, and the Packers do not.
They absolutely do not.
And, I think that the Packers, if I had to put money on it, will win. So my honest, best guess prediction is...
gun to your head, you have to pick who's going to win. Who are you
Packers
going with?
27-24.
I appreciate that. I'm going to use your confidence later in the week to boost my confidence.
Because I think that Aaron Rodgers is a better... I'll tell you. Do you want me to tell you why I think the Packers
Yes, I would
will
love for you to elaborate.
I think Rodgers is a better quarterback than Goff. I think that Goff does not have the offensive weapons that Rodgers has, on top of the fact he is a worse quarterback. And I think that... let me think of a way to how to say this. The gap between the Packers defense and their offense is not as brutal as the gap between the Rams defense and the Rams offense.
Yeah, I get that. I would probably say
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You would say they're a more balanced team than the...
Yes, I think the Packers offense is better than the is much better than the Rams offense in comparison to the Rams defense over the Packers offense. There we go.
I'm going to look it up, and I saw a stat earlier. The Rams obviously have the number one defense. The Packers have, I think this is according to Pro Football Focus, have the number one offense. The Packers have the number 15th ranked defense, which I think is extremely generous. And the Rams offense, I believe was anywhere from 17 to 21 over there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say is that the offense and defensive gaps between the two teams in terms of their ability is far more detrimental to the Rams than to the Packers. There we go. ACT word right there, kids.
Yeah, there you go. All right, with that, let's move on to some NBA. I'll start here first. The Bucks proved. Well, I don't know about proved.
I would just like to say it is kind of fun that football's over, this playoff rush. So now we can kind of talk about some more sports. So it is a nice little thing. So take it away.
Yeah, Bucks. They beat the Cavs by 10 without Giannis. Middleton had 27. So I would say they proved they can win without Giannis, but it is the Cavs, so I won't say that. But their latest game, they did beat the everlasting crap out of the Magic, 121-99. Giannis had 22. Middleton had a 22 and 10 with 10 boards, and Bobby Portis had 20 points as well. So overall, the team looked good. This year, the Bucks are relying less on Giannis to drop 30+, which I really like because in the playoffs, teams do key in on him. So I'm happy about that. They are, I believe, 6-4 as it is right now. So yeah, I'm happy going forward. I'm confident going forward. And well, I mean, the Bucks are just so confusing to me because they go out and they'll destroy the Magic by almost, well, I wouldn't say 30+, but 22. But then they'll go and they'll lose to the Knicks. So it's very confusing. But speaking about confusing, Ben, why don't you talk about the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, they suck. They're terrible. But, I say that, but, I watched their entire game against the Lakers when I was back home. And that, they were beating the LeBron Lakers. They were...
For a little bit,
they were up. It was a back-and-forth game the entire time. They end up losing by 2. See, you look at that, and you're like, holy shit. But then you look at their record, they're 4-7.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game, but tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the Bulls had an 8-point lead at one point.
It was 6, at one point. But then you look the Bulls have lost 3 in a row. They're 4-7, but they started 4-4. But if you really look at the entire schedule, they lost 3 in a row to start, won 2 in a row, lost 1, won 2, lost 3. So it's just very. I don't want to say. I think it's too early in the season to say streaky. But I guess some positives to the Bulls, I would say, is that it's the first time you're seeing, in the stat line at the end of the game that Zach LaVine is not the one leading them in points every game.
Yeah.
So, Kobe White and Porter Jr. have led the Bulls in points a couple times this year. I think White's led twice and Porter once. So Zach LaVine is still a beast. He dropped 45 against the Clippers and 38 against the Clippers, who they lost, 30 against the Lakers, 45 against the Clippers, two very good teams in my opinion. And they lost by 3 to the Clips and 2 to the Lakers. They lost by 4 to the Kings. Milwaukee beat the piss out of them.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that game.
They lost by 1 to the Warriors, so they're playing good teams right down to the wire.
Yeah, they're in games.
And Zach LaVine is dropping some crazy point totals like Jimmer Fredette in the Chinese Basketball Association type numbers.
Jimmer,
so,
the legend.
So yeah, I guess it's not terrible from the Bulls, but we're a long way off from seeing a return to the playoff Bulls. Yeah, I would say.
True. With that, let's move on to the only sport that you and I can agree on.
Yeah, that unites us here. Hawks, baby. Blackhawks hockey is back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very, very excited. It's kind of weird because this is the shortest wait we've ever had for hockey season because it ended, the Blackhawks at least, in early September with the playoff Lost to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Ugh.
I think it was late August, early September. So I mean,
I think it was September 2nd.
Yeah, we've waited 3 months pretty much for Blackhawks hockey to return versus what it usually is in April until October. So
yeah, and this is
we're
the latest. It's weird because it's the latest start hockey's had in a long time.
Yeah,
I think,
but
since the lockout,
with their extended playoffs that they had last year, where we had literally 75% of the league in the playoffs, and the Blackhawks.
Would you call those play-in games playoffs?
No, the play-in games were not. Those were qualifiers, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Those were like, but the Blackhawks won the qualifier.
They did. They did do that,
and they made it into the last 8 in the Western Conference, which is what the playoffs normally are. So yes, I say the Blackhawks made the playoffs because
and
they
got smoked.
Yeah, they got rocked, but they were one of the last 8 remaining teams in the Western Conference. Yeah. And that's a normal playoff bracket, 8 teams. So that's why I say yes, the Blackhawks did make the playoffs last year because they were the top 8 teams in the Western Conference based off the stipulations that were set for last season.
Yeah, and folks, don't get Ben wrong. The Blackhawks were a long way from advancing. But hey, playoffs are playoffs.
Well, and they were the worst team in the qualifiers. They were the 12th seed in the West and played the Oilers, who just missed out on a top 4 bye out of the first round of the qualifiers. And we beat them 3-1. Like the first game of that series, I was up in Door County, Wisconsin, up at Hoosby's Bar in Sister Bay, not sponsored, watching the game. No, yeah, right. Watching the game with a bunch of dudes from Minnesota who are big hockey guys. They were just there to watch hockey. That tells you something about that state, even though their team wasn't playing. They just showed up to watch 2 random teams play in the first round of the playoffs. So I was watching with them, and the Blackhawks took it to them and scored a shit ton of goals. And Corey Crawford, for those however many, I think it was 8 games that we actually played. We played four qualifiers. 8. And, yeah, so he looked great. And, obviously – Corey Crawford's been in the news lately because he signed with the Devils, then just retired 2 days ago. I think that at some point he is a shout for his number to be retired by the Blackhawks. He won 2 Stanley Cups.
It wasn't 3? I thought it was he on that?
No, Anthony Emmy was the goalie in 2010.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh, jeez, the legend.
Yeah, so, but I think Crawford, he's won more cups than any other Blackhawks goaltender, been to the playoffs more times than any other Blackhawks goaltender. So he's up there with the likes of Ed Belfour and Tony Esposito in terms of all-time Blackhawks goalies, just for what they contributed to the game and to the team in the city of Chicago. Blackhawks re-signed Cotillion, which blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, that did shock me.
From the day they fired Joel Quenneville, I was just pissed because I think that was the stupidest thing ever. Mm-hmm. Because we had 1 year where we didn't make the playoffs. Well, 2, but it was. 2. But he was fired after a month of that second season that we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they fired him after 9 games.
Yeah, I remember seeing the news and I thought it was fake at first because I was just.
He has more Stanley Cups than any other active coach in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, he does. But I want to say I understand, but I really don't. They're not really in win now mode. So I would understand if they were in win now mode.
At this point, not at all. At this point, not at all.
Yeah.
And also the fact that there was so many great coaches that were available after Quenneville was fired, and we decided to sign our 31-year-old head coach of the Rockford Ice Hogs in the AHL. Mm-hmm. That would be like the Cubs firing Madden and then picking up their AA manager, which they pretty much picked up David Ross, which as I've said, is worse because that's basically admitting that you're going to suck. But,
yeah, and then they fucked around and made the playoffs. So,
Yeah, but that's what Cotillion did last year, but he's very unproven. Obviously, his only playoff appearance was questionable, but we'll count it.
Yes, always count it.
It's going to be fun to see us play the defending Stanley Cup champions on opening night with Jonathan Toews out for an illness, which they haven't said what it is. but he's
I would
expected to
assume
miss.
it's COVID at this point.
No, because he's extended. He's supposed to miss an extended amount of time. Kirby
wow.
Doc, the best prospect the Blackhawks have had probably since Patrick Kane and Tays came to the team. He's done for the year after he got injured in the first game, I think it was. First or second game with Canada in the World Junior Classic, which, by the way, go USA. Great win for the boys. But yeah, I mean, we lose our, our brightest star, even though Kane is still, one of the best players in the league. But our brightest prospect and our hope for the future is going to miss an entire season. It sucks. So I don't know who's going to start in net. I'm assuming it's going to be Subban over Colin Delia. But regardless, it's a rebuilding mode and fully for the Blackhawks now. We had kind of gotten on the right track last year, and things were clicking with Kubalik and DeBrincat started playing well. Yeah. Even back when Cotillion started as head coach. So things looked to be going in the right direction last year, but I think with Crawford leaving, with Doc being out for an extended amount of time, Nylander's not supposed to start the season either. Tay's out. I think we're in a really tough spot for the Blackhawks right now. So still excited. I mean, I love the Hawks, and it's like the one team that really unites the city.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
Should be interesting. Starting against defending Stanley Cup champions, like I said, and then playing them 2 nights later again in Florida. So actually the Hawks' first 3 games are down in Florida. They play Tampa, and then Florida Panthers. So it'll be interesting. And I guess that's all there really is to say about hockey season. Toss it over to baseball.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just make this quick little comment. The MLB announced that they're planning to have a full spring training with a full 162 games, which I am so thankful for because, and I will say this, I think Christian Yelich played bad because of the shortened season. Whether that might be the case or might not, I'm just going to stick with that until he sucks this year. But speaking of sucking, the NL Central is looking very bad.
I think the Reds are going to win.
I mean, I saw a post online comparing the NL Central to the NL East of football this year, and
But it didn't used to be that way, man. That's the crazy thing. Like, because I remember when the Cubs first started getting good in 2015, like the Cardinals won the division, and we were playing the Pirates for the wild card. And then 2016, we win the division, and the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Pirates were all fighting for playoff spots that year.
Oh, God, that year was brutal. It all came down to the second to last game of the year for the Brewers.
It was against the Cardinals, wasn't it?
Yep, and Ryan Braun just let the ball go right under his glove.
Yeah, because I remember they had didn't they have a crazy comeback against the Cardinals one of those games? Yeah, or against the Brewers for the Cards. Because I remember following that, even though the Cubs in the end didn't need like the Cardinals to win that, because I think the Cubs clinched it on their own.
They did.
With like three games left we did. Yeah. But because I remember watching those games, seeing what was going to mean for the Cubs, and the Brewers kind of pissed themselves per usual. But yeah, the Cubs I think have fully, not like openly admitted it, obviously, but I think we're definitely in a rebuild mode at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. Like, you've dealt with a baseball rebuild kind of with the Brewers pretty much.
Oh, no, it was a rebuild. It was a full-on 8-year rebuild, yes.
But the Cubs, the annoying thing is like we just did a 10-year rebuild. And
well, I mean, you could make the argument it was a 108-year rebuild.
That's what I wanted to say. That I wasn't sure if you'd say that was too extreme. But
no, I completely get that. I mean, you did win. Did you win the pennant once at least?
No, we didn't even. No.
Oh, that's right. You were. Yeah, you could have won, but
yeah. So 45 was the last time we had gone to a World Series. Then in '84 we won what was just because back then it was just the NL East and the NL West. Mm-hmm. And we won the NL East, lost, didn't make the World Series that year. Obviously, 2003.
Oh, jeez. I won't put you through that. We don't have to
Yeah.
talk about that.
But, we're not going to get too deep into baseball, but I'll say, like, everything that happened to the Cubs, I think sports is kind of, as baseball especially, like, baseball, I think we can agree is our favorite sport.
Oh, yeah.
At least for me it is.
Yeah,
I think it's America's game, and it's just it's the most poetic sport, and it's the most that tells the best stories is definitely baseball.
Yeah, I mean, and also, when we work over at our local baseball complex, in the summer, we're like, if the Brewers and Cubs are playing, we'll have the game
on the radio. Yeah, man.
Even though it's a meaningless game in the middle of June, we're still invested into it. And that's,
100%.
That's why I love baseball so much, because there's a game not every day, but, pretty much for your team almost every day.
Yeah.
And you can get blown out one day, then blow the team out the next day.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what was I trying to say? Oh, yeah. Baseball. I think in baseball, it's kind of like how I view, like, the world in general is like everything happens for a reason, and it's all building up to something, and I think that, even though we did have the Bartman era, the Bartman game, and, we had 39 years since 1945 to 84 where we didn't make the playoffs at all. It's like all of that just makes the end result so much sweeter for the Cubs. But I mean, it's just frustrating for me what's going on with the Cubs right now, because, like 2003, we had the Bartman, like I said, but we had those 2 years in 07, 08 were back-to-back years. We won the NL Central, with Soriano, Ted Lilly, Carlos Zambrano, Ryan Terrio, DeRosa. Those guys obviously got swept both times we made it to the playoffs. But those were just kind of fluke years, and now it seemed like Theo had finally put it together. And obviously it sucks that he's gone, but I understand it, because Theo Epstein is a rebuilding general manager. He's
outstanding at it.
Yeah, he's the best at it. So it sucks to see. But nothing, I don't think, ever in my life for sports, maybe unless the Bears, wait 60 more years to win a Super Bowl, and then we're at a 100-year drought. But I don't think anything will ever beat a 108-year drought in the Cubs winning the World Series. Yeah. So it's kind of like you with the Packers. Like, I get how it is now. It's just you're just win. Like, you go to the playoffs and you expect it. And it's something that, like, is fun with the Cubs, but I also kind of miss, sucking.
Yeah,
and, being like,
I was gonna say that I completely get what you mean by it. Like, I really enjoyed those years, from, 2012 to, you could probably say 2017. Because it was just, we weren't good, and we just scratched and clawed every game out that we won. And it was just a lot of fun because you had no expectations going into the year.
No.
You didn't, because at least as I am with the Packers, I'm like, okay, we have to win this game if we're going to go to the playoffs, because that's what you expect them to go to the playoffs. That's what I expect out of the Packers. And the Brewers, I have no expectations. Like last year, I think we were probably the worst team in the history of baseball to make it to the playoffs. Not apologizing for that.
With a losing record.
Yeah, I think statistically we were the worst team to ever make it to the playoffs. Not apologizing.
Yeah, 100%.
Got destroyed by the Dodgers. Loved every minute of it. But the thing with I feel like we're in a similar spot where the Cubs were last year. Like, I don't know if we're rebuilding or not. Because, we're not going out. We're not signing any big free agents. We're not making any big trades. We have a horrible, and when I say horrible, I mean horrendous farm system. I think MLB Network ranked it the worst or second worst farm system in all of baseball. And we're not good in the majors, so I don't know what's going on. Signed Yelich to a massive deal, which when you're in a small market like Milwaukee really sucks, because now it's really hard to sign any other big free agents.
Yeah.
So it's just
Hey, but one thing we have to say is if both our teams suck, we both have the Quincy Gems to fall back onto this summer.
That is true. And folks, let me tell you something about the Quincy Gems. If you don't know anything about the Quincy Gems, you're an idiot.
You're gonna. It's some because I'll be there.
Quincy Gems, they're gonna shock the world.
You know, I think when I'm down there calling games this summer, we'll throw a Gems update in every podcast.
Oh yeah, just a quick little, the Gems won 5-2 today.
Yeah, we'll give everyone a third or second team to support down in the Prospect League. So
yeah. Did you end up getting your merchandise from the Quincy Gems yet?
Not yet, but that's understandable considering my mom one day shipped a Christmas gift to me out here. It was actually a broadcasting scorebook. Thank you to Bob Carpenter, the voice of the Nationals on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, for making a great professional scorebook, custom made for me for this upcoming season of college wood bat summer baseball. But yeah, and that was a 1 day shipping, and it came the day before. It was shipped on the 23rd, and it came on the 8th. So.
Oh, okay. So it took a little bit.
Yeah, it took 15 days for 1 day shipping. So who knows how long other things are going to take. So
yeah,
it's a crazy time, but we always have sports to fall back onto.
We always got the Gems, baby. Yeah. With that, I think we'll wrap up baseball. We'll move on to our meat raffle. I'll do mine real quick.
Oh, you stole part of mine.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see that. Oh, jeez. All right, I'll leave out the second part. Mine was Bills Mafia. I added in Browns Nation, but Picorni is the Browns, so I'm going to go just with Bills Mafia. My grandfather is from Orchard Park, New York. His father came here, his grandfather came here from Poland, and they settled in Orchard Park, New York, and he's a huge Bills fan. He's calling me all the time to talk about the Bills. And, to see him, finally get to see the Bills win a playoff game again, he was just ecstatic. He's so happy, and I'm so happy for Bills Nation, Bills Mafia. I'm assuming, after they won, Walmart probably ran out of folding tables.
Well, I think it's awesome that they let fans. Obviously, we understand with COVID how hard it is in some places, but, I think it's been said for years that sports can really have an impact on things, and I think, allowing fans into that game meant a lot more than just being able to see a playoff football game. I think it meant a lot to the city of Buffalo, and it was cool to see. It was cool to see some of the videos of people sitting outside, like in the streets, watching the game at when it's 15 degrees out.
Oh yeah. That's something I'm assuming that Packer fans are going to do. I wouldn't be shocked because, Lambeau, where it is.
Bars are open in Wisconsin, though, and stuff like that.
Oh, you bet your ass they are. I guarantee those are going to be jam-packed. But Lambeau, it's straight in the middle of a suburban town.
Yeah.
There's, it's not like, Soldier, where, it's kind of, disconnected from the city. It's kind of its little own thing.
Yeah.
And, Lambeau, literally, you take, 50 feet literally outside the gate, and you're standing in someone's front yard. So I feel like everyone's going to be outside, probably grilling.
Yeah, that would be cool.
28-degree weather. But yeah, congrats to Bills Mafia. Can't wait for you guys to meet us in the Super Bowl. Can't wait for it. Yeah, congratulations, Ben. What do you got?
Cleveland Browns. Let's go. Very happy for them. I can never hate Cleveland except for the Cavaliers when LeBron is playing with them, because I think he has. I think he just has. I just hate him because he has no loyalty. He's like, "Oh, I'm coming back, Cleveland, because I love you guys so much." It's like, no, you're coming back because the Heat suck now.
Yeah.
But I love the Browns, and I'll always cheer for the Indians if they're in the World Series or the playoffs playing someone besides the Cubs, because the Indians are the other long-suffering baseball team.
Yeah.
Because their drought is, I think, now the longest for aside from the Cubs. So,
yeah,
I might be wrong. The Mariners might be up there, considering they've never went to a World Series in franchise history.
Yeah. Same with the Brewers. Here we are.
Yeah.
I would.
But you guys have been more consistently successful than both of those teams in terms of.
We made the playoffs in '82.
Maybe more than the Mariners, definitely not more than the Cardinals or the Indians.
Our playoff appearances have been in 82, came close in 83.
Is that the Robin Yount days?
That's the Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Raleigh Fingers days, the glory days. Then we went back, quick wild card exit in 08. 2011 made it to the divisional. Or divisional, yeah. I'm thinking about football. And then 2017 obviously should have went to the World Series. 2018, the Trent Grisham game. Then I wouldn't even consider 2008, 2018, and 2019 playoff appearances, considering we were bounced. Except for 2018, where bounced.
You won the division.
Rather, bounced convincingly.
Yeah, I feel like the reason I'll always support Cleveland, bottom line, is because, like, whether the Cubs have sucked or the Brewers have sucked or the Bears, Bulls, Bucks, Blackhawks, like, you and I have always at least had one team to look towards and be like, okay, they're doing, like, this is the team that we're waiting for every year. But Cleveland has had, at some points, like, 30 years where they had no team that was, like, exciting or, like, had a chance at doing anything of note. So, good job, Browns. Happy for the dog pound and everyone in Cleveland. So, fish fry. I'll start off with it since it kind of keeps on the same topic of the Browns
go for it.
Beating the Steelers. Juju Smith-Schuster is a fucking joke of a person.
Fuck that guy, dude.
Like, what a dick. Like, everything that has happened to him, he fully deserves, because I think he's very disrespectful to the other team, to the teams that he plays, their organizations, their fans, and their cities. Like, it all started with him dancing on the logo in Cincinnati. And he gets his shit rocked that game. The Steelers lose to the fucking Bengals with a third-string quarterback playing.
Yeah.
And, like, you would think after that, he was like, oh, shit, like, I fucked up and gave them. He is walking bulletin board material.
It's like, and apparent, like
if I was playing, if I was playing, like, all you would have to do is show me one of his TikToks of him, like, dancing before the game, and I would be ready to rip his face off.
Oh, yeah, and
it's just so disrespectful.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the clip of Jarvis Landry in the locker room after their win was mocking his dance, which I thought was just, like, how can you give someone that much, like, as you said, bulletin board material to go off of? Like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it was free. He was just pissing him off for fun. Like,
it was ridiculous.
I don't know how Mike Tomlin allows that to happen either. If I was a head coach, I would shut that down so quickly.
I think it's maybe because, he was doing it all year when they were 11-0, and, like, at that point, it's not a problem. But then he did shut it down for, I believe, Week 17 and then the playoff game. But, yeah, that's... Juju Smith-Schuster, you're a douchebag. I hate you.
Yeah, what a dick.
I hope you cry.
And he got what he deserved. Yeah, they fucking lost, and you saw the Browns doing their TikTok dances imitating him after the game. So
yeah, that was funny. All right.
He was like... also, one last thing about him.
Yeah.
I saw a clip from, like... It was at the end of the game when the Steelers were down, like, 18.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he's lined up for a snap. They're losing 18 in the playoffs to the 6th seed. Right? 6? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's dancing.
No, 5 seed.
5 seed? Was it 4 or 5?
No,
it was the 6.
Let me check.
Because the Steelers
No, it was 6, yeah.
Steelers were 3. Yeah, because Titans, Colts was 4 or 5. Yeah, he's, like, dancing before the snap. Like, what the fuck is your problem? It just drives me nuts. Like, I'm all for, like, Baker Mayfield's antics. You know, he talks shit, but he backs it up. And I would like to even argue that Baker Mayfield doesn't start anything. He finishes it. Like the thing with Kansas back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I
have to kind of disagree with you. That was kind of... they didn't shake his hand. That's, like, a little... Like, obviously not a little thing, but that, like... I don't know if that entices grabbing the crotch area.
But, yeah, fair. But I just think Juju has no awareness. And, I honestly felt bad for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I seen him crying with
the picture of him
Pouncey.
crying, man. Yeah,
that ripped my heart out. That was rough.
That's tough because you got a kid like... I'll call him Juju Smith-Schuster's like 4 years older than me.
He's a child.
Like, yeah, I could have been in elementary school with him. And the fact that he's doing that, like, as his quarterback and one of the longest serving starters, I would beg to say, in the NFL, is in tears because he's done. Like,
probably.
Big Ben's probably done.
Probably done, yeah.
And you're out there dancing as you're getting fucking killed in the NFL playoffs in the nightcap game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think that's awful. Like, I get the dancing, I get the shit talking that you see in professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I think that most guys understand when the right time is and the wrong time is. And Juju Smith-Schuster does not get that. And, you know, all the claps and the shit that he's gotten and the hits that he's taken, he deserves, because he has no respect, honestly, for his opponents. He has no respect for his team and their fans, and he has no respect for his teammates in general, because I think what he did was very, very selfish and shallow, and put his team and his teammates in a horrible position. And I'm obviously not blaming the Steelers' loss on him. They got their shit kicked in. But I think he's a toxic player to have in a franchise.
Yeah, with that, I mean, I won't go too into detail because we already touched on it earlier. But my fish fry would be Matt Nagy for not kicking the extra point to cover. I mean, just another reason for fuck you, Nagy. That's all I got to say. We'll move on, not to get you too riled up about that game.
You're good.
So we'll quickly just, a little skirt away from that.
You betcha.
I'll go quickly. When I saw this line, I was really surprised. Bills -2 only. I guess it's because they didn't really beat the Colts in the way they should have. But, I mean, when I saw -2, I'm like, oh, come on, give me that all day, every day. But, yeah, Bills -2, Bills Mafia, stand up, let's go.
Chiefs money line for me. I'm just it's within the parameters that we set.
Wait, what did we set? -300 or -500?
-750.
Oh, what are they? Oh, I'm
-500.
-480.
They're -5.
Yeah.
480. Okay. So
right.
Yeah.
I won't call it a cop out. That's an easy out, but it is within our parameters. That is within
what we said. It's not as bad as Tennessee -3,400 like you wanted to do earlier this year. So
all right, allegedly. All right, so real quick, I mean, we are both 4-2. I'll touch on our playoff brackets. We both got 2 wrong. I got the Steelers.
My Super Bowl champion has been eliminated.
Oh Jesus, is it? Oh my goodness. But
yeah, the Seahawks.
I'll touch on mine real quick. I had the Steelers and the Seahawks winning. They both lost. You, my friend, had the Seahawks and the Titans moving on. They both lost. I mean, Ben, your thing is fucked now. Your Seahawks winning the Super Bowl that's brutal.
Hey, I called the Browns, though. I made up for it.
Isn't that all that matters in the end?
Yeah, I made up for it.
Yeah, I mean, would you like to just give anyone with a parting thought on your Seahawks call?
I thought Russell Wilson was due, and he wasn't. That is all.
All right, with that...
Thought he was due, yeah.
With that, folks, we'd like to thank you so much for listening to this episode 8 of Broad Shoulder and Cheese Curds, and thank you
a very long episode 8.
Yes, we got into it. Thank you to everyone listening on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate that.
Yep.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, go check us out on Apple Podcasts. Just go to the search bar, type in Broad Shoulders and Cheese Curds.
Throw it on when you're doing homework or whatever else. Now it's a great new feature to be on Apple. Really
just
cool.
Put it on a loop. Listen to us for hours on hours. Listen to us before you go to bed. And I know you guys got a spare hour to just sit around and do nothing. Don't lie to me. But yeah, with that, he is Ben Picorni. I am Riley Trapp. Thank you all for listening. Go Pack, go.
Go Hawks.